I feel like a more appropriate title for this movie should have been, Is That Pussy Worth Dying For? The movie It Follows stars Micah Monroe and a bunch of other people that I've never heard of. And the premise of the story is, if you fuck somebody, then you pass on this thing that follows you onto the next person. And then if you fuck the next person, you pass that on. So it's like a scary version of AIDS. And joining me for this review is horror expert Zombie Greg. He's been in one of my reviews before. He's been on the podcast before. So Greg, let's get your take on this first. How did you think this film turned out?
You know, there's a lot of things that I really liked about this film. One of them is that finally, and we've been preaching it on this show forever, that somebody had the balls to make a real horror film and not a found footage film. I got a very 80s kind of throwback vibe to the whole film. And they used a lot of old school horror tactics to build tension in the films, like using slow walking and using scary music, which I love the score in this movie. I thought it was so good, and it just really felt like this movie was made in the 80s. It really gave me that vibe.
It did.
There wasn't things like, you know, cell phone use or a couple of trucks that we saw. You would have never known that this movie was a modern day movie. But however, like I said, it kind of almost felt like John Carpenter made this movie. I felt like it was like Halloween I was watching. You know, a lot of the same things like the slow walking from Michael Myers and just the music, how the music sounded, felt like it was a very John Carpenter feel to the movie. With that said, there's a lot of parts that were very creepy in the movie. I think maybe there was a couple, but very minimal, if not no, jump scares in the whole movie. And they just really... I want to really praise the director, David Mitchell, I think his name is, because of his patience in the movie. He had a lot of amazing cinematography in the movie where it has a lot of panoramic shots where, you know, the film kind of sweeps the room and it causes you to kind of look at everything. And you start to get this anxiety buildup of, is someone going to be standing there? Because you never feel safe. Once the movie kind of starts going, you never feel safe. No matter what the scene is, what the shot is, someone at any time of the movie can be walking up and they just kind of creep up on you. So
the movie makes you feel uncomfortable. It doesn't necessarily like scare the shit out of you, but at all times you feel this uneasiness and you feel as uncomfortable as shit watching the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like that's kind of what the director was trying to get across, you know? If he wanted to just jump scare you, he would have filled the whole movie full of them. But he didn't. He builds these slow, without spoiling anything, because I don't want to do any spoilers, but I just want to kind of bring us back to one scene that in particular, and really it's early on in the movie, but it's one where she's sitting there and the woman's just slowly start walking towards her, and she can't move. And that buildup of a slow walk did so much more to me than any type of jump scare, because a jump scare just comes and goes. And really, when you watch this, it builds up this fear in you. With the music building up and everything, you're just going, oh my God, this is pretty terrifying what I'm watching, you know? So my hat really goes off to this movie for being creative. I thought it was well written. I thought the acting was well done. There's a couple of things in the movie that I wish they would have kind of tied up the ends on and kind of explained a little bit more. A couple of them, I don't want to really give anything away. It's not really giving anything away, but there's parts where, you know, she's looking down in her underpants for, you know, like there's something happening, but they never explain that. And there's a couple of things in the movie that went kind of unexplained, and you kind of leaves it up to your imagination. But, you know, overall, I really, really enjoyed this movie a lot.
Yeah, and it doesn't give you this cliched, typical horror movie and we've seen where, you know, they just follow the formula and they try to make it as cheap as they can. Then I agree with you as far as this feeling like it's a John Carpenter movie. Everything from the score to the way it was shot to even the way these characters were dressed and acted, it almost felt like it was a movie out of time.
Right.
And it was nice to see a movie that takes it back to that. And I also want to say that I think Micah Monroe, this is the second indie movie I've seen her in. The first one was The Guest. She's a star in the making. I think she's got big things coming for her.
Yeah, she did very well. And you know, it just I think the whole thing in total was just a really well done movie. You know, like I said, I think the patience is a big part of what this movie was, because there's a lot of scenes where it was almost like an in between, where they're just kind of sitting around and almost waiting for something to start up again, you know. But it was kind of those build-ups where you're, you know, like you said, you build that anxiety up, and it keeps you kind of waiting for things. So, you know, well done. I was impressed with this movie.
Okay, so what are you scoring this?
I'm gonna give this movie a 9.5.
Wow.
Yeah, this might be runner-up for horror movie of the year. It's going to have to come up with something, you know. And really, this is a great start. We're only into April, so this is, for me, you know, this is a great start to release a movie like this early. And there's a lot of other ones that we've talked a lot about and that we're excited to see. So, you know, this one kind of set the bar so far. So we'll see what can come past this one.
Yeah, as for me, I'm going to give the film a 9. I thought it was a fantastic, well-done horror film. There's not a lot of bad things to say about it, except for, like you said, a few unexplained parts.
Right.
Some of the acting from some of the actors was a bit questionable, but not terrible.
Right.
But I think the strongest part of the film is Micah Monroe, and she did a fantastic job. But it's a great horror movie, so definitely check it out if you get a chance.
Yeah, and you know, when you guys, I don't know if you're planning on doing a end of the year award show like you usually do, but I think not only this might be runner-up for horror movie of the year, but this is definitely going to be up there for score of the year. The music is phenomenal.
I agree, and that contributed a lot to the movie as well. So
definitely.
Greg, thanks for joining me. Guys, if you've seen this film, let me know what you think. Comment below. Please like the video, hit the subscribe at the end of the channel, and as always, thank you for watching.